How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Sandman, pronounced Sandman but spelled S&Man, which I do wonder if that really wrecked up their search engine optimization because, I mean, can I even put an ampersand in the YouTube title? I guess we're gonna find out. Anyway, this is from 2006, directed by J.T. Perry, and stars himself as well as several members from the underground horror community, people like Debbie D, the Austin Underground crew, and Bill Zebub. And this is one of those, like, if you're familiar with House's October build, this is one of those mostly true documentaries with a bit of a fictitious spin on it. As far as the documentary portion goes, it's a really interesting idea. This guy had an encounter when he was younger with someone in his neighborhood that was secretly recording people, but he was never prosecuted because people didn't want his tapes to be watched. They didn't want their secrets to get out. He got funding to make a documentary, wanted to make it about him, but he wouldn't appear on screen, and in turn, his focus kind of shifted into the people that were simulating these types of films. People who are simulating films with voyeurism and people who are simulating snuff, which a lot of that was the underground horror community, and a lot of their films were like found footage films from the perspective of a killer who would be stalking and killing people, and even if they weren't in that exact style, would often feature quite extreme and gratuitous imagery. And we get the back and forth as to why people would make films like that and why people would watch films like that. And we get kind of two big camps in this documentary. We get the professional but outsider crew, people who are like professors and psychologists and stuff, who speak on it very clinically, but at the same time, from a distance. You know, I could guess people would do this because of this, but they're not horror fans. And then you get the people who are making these films, and a lot of them are like, yeah, I do it because it's fun. I'm wanting to make a cool movie. I'm wanting to push boundaries. But at the same time, they do have to answer the questions, why are you drawn to this? Why are you making this stuff? And it's an interesting little back and forth, and we get several interviews, again, with who I assume are mostly real people. I know the filmmakers are real. I'm not sure about the professionals, and I'm not sure if the setup with the guy from the neighborhood's real or not. But from what I gather, most of this portion of the documentary is real, and it's pretty fascinating. I know a little bit about the underground horror community. I mean, I'm a big horror fan, but I haven't really delved into a lot of this type of film. You know, I had knew who Bill Zebub was, but I hadn't ever watched any of his films before, about that kind of thing. And to get to see clips from these, a lot of these clips are pretty out there and over the top, and I have to say, even just the clip portion by itself without any of the other context, it is pretty extreme and crazy. And if you guys are interested in this type of filmmaking, this is probably a pretty good jumping off point. You could probably get several good recommendations from it. But overall, the real portion of the documentary was pretty fun, but we do get that fictitious half. It's probably, I'd say probably like an 80-20 split where most of it's real and just that little bit is fictitious. And I was going back and forth thinking, how much do I say about the fictitious side? But I was reading the back of the box, and the back of the box does let it slip that they come across the one guy who might be taking it too far. And when you get that in a plot summary, you know there's going to be a fictitious element. I mean, come on, guys. They're not going to really find the one actual snuff killer. That's just, that's too perfect. But the fictitious side is really interesting. Honestly, the one guy in here who's an actor does blend in really well. Like, early on in the movie, I would kind of forget which one he was from time to time until it really established him. And when he does get established, yeah, he does send up the clear red flags that the other filmmakers don't, where he says, oh yeah, before I cast someone, I might follow them around without their knowledge, but I totally approach them once I know I'm gonna publish the movie, and from there on out, it's completely they're aware of it. And you're like, okay, that's that's super creepy. You probably shouldn't be doing that. And the way he'll talk and he'll say like, oh yeah, I did this, I killed them. And you know that he means from a movie perspective, or at least you hope he means from a movie perspective, but yeah, he'll casually say, oh, I followed her out to the woods and then I stab her, you know? And honestly, he does blend in super well, but I also kind of hate that the movie's called Sandman because that's the name of his video series. He does episodes of the Sandman series and he's working on number 13 right now. And once you know, like, that's the name of the movie you're watching, and then this director comes up and says, oh, I make the Sandman series, you're like, that's the name of the movie. I bet he's going to be the creepy one. I don't know, maybe if the movie wasn't called Sandman, and maybe if they gave some of the real filmmakers a few creepy things to say to kind of diverse the track. As it stands though, he blends in super well, except for from a plot standpoint, knowing exactly who he is. But he's a good actor, and the idea that, you know, he's out there, he's following people, he even talks about like a little magic ritual he does with the dolls, and the way that he does get creepier and creepier, they set him up pretty well. But the thing is, I don't know how well everyone will feel about that 80-20 split. Me personally, I wish there was more on the side of fiction. You know, this idea that we stumbled across a real killer, like when you find that, that should kind of take over the documentary, and I really wish we had much more scenes about trying to figure out who the girls were and tracking them down, doing detective work and trying to stop him. But as it stands, because this is trying to be so realistic, you don't really get any of that, and I think that's one of the things that The Houses October Built did better, is they lended in to a bigger finale, and they also integrated the creepy moments throughout the whole documentary better. But like I said, I'm on the camp that wishes it was more fictitious. I do kind of think there might be some people that were just super big into the documentary, and then when you throw in the clearly fictional element, they might go, ah, gee, I was enjoying the documentary. So I am curious what camp you guys are on. Do you think doing the fictional element inside what's mainly a true documentary kind of ruins it, because now you don't know what's real and it brings a whole documentary into question? Or do you just want to have a good time and wish they had pushed it further? I am curious what people's perspective are on this, because yeah, it is mostly a documentary. It is mostly real, and the real stuff is cool, and the fake stuff is well integrated. I just wish the thing had more of a plot. I wish we, you know, if you find a killer, I think that would start to preoccupy your mind, and he does have good scenes, and I get not wanting to push it too far because you do want to try to pass this off as real, but I mean, the actor's name's listed in the end credits, so I don't think it's really fooling anybody. It's cool. I kind of wish it was more, but as a good introduction to underground horror, I can definitely recommend it for that, and the little fictional spin on it was interesting as well. Again though, I do wish it was pushed further. This is one that I thought was cool, but I am curious what you guys will think of it. I can totally see some people not liking it for various reasons, but again, go in knowing what it is and have a fun little time with this. If nothing else, get a good clip show from underground horror, right? Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom if you guys want to see more. You can click here to see more videos kind of like this. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist here. Have a good day now.